They don't interview you for the job. They inform you that you have it. A man in a uniform you don't fully recognize appears at your apartment door on a Thursday morning. He doesn't introduce himself. He hands you a single folded document and watches you read it. It is not an offer. It is not a contract. It is an assignment, stamped with a seal you have seen exactly once before, on the wall of a government building you were walked through and never told the name of. You have been selected. Reporting date, immediately. Personal effects, 2 bags, nothing else. You ask what you will be doing. He tells you you'll be driving the train. You don't ask which train. Something in the way he says it tells you the question would be the wrong kind of question to ask. You find out on the second day. You've been a rail engineer for 9 years at this point. Pyongyang's freight lines mostly. Long overnight hauls through the dark interior of the country. Cargo you were never told the contents of. Destinations that sometimes didn't appear on any map you were given. You learned early that in this job, you keep your eyes on the track and your hands on the controls and your thoughts to yourself. That discipline is exactly why you're standing here now inside a facility you were driven to blindfolded, looking at a locomotive painted the color of dark pine trees with a single yellow stripe running its full length like a scar. It is, you are told, armored. The windows are not windows. They are laminated panels of ballistic glass 4 inches thick. The walls are reinforced steel. The floors are layered against explosives. The whole machine weighs so much it cannot exceed 60 kilometers per hour without risking the tracks beneath it, which in most of the country are already half a century past their maintenance date. You will never go fast. Speed is not the point. Invisibility is the point. The train moves mainly at night. No announcements. No schedule that exists on paper anywhere you are permitted to see. 3 trains move together. Yours in the center, a security train, a head sweeping the line for threats, and a third behind carrying guards, staff, and contingencies. You are the middle. You are the one that matters. You are the one carrying him. The rules come next. There are many. You memorize them the way you memorize track gradients in engineering school, not because you find them interesting, but because getting them wrong has a cost you cannot afford to calculate. The cabin temperature is controlled by his staff. You do not adjust it. You do not initiate communication with the rear carriages unless routed through a specific officer whose name you are given and told to forget after you've used it. Some carriages are exclusively his. A private bedroom, an office with a desk and a wall-mounted map of the Korean Peninsula. Others hold conference rooms, audience chambers, satellite phones, flat-screen displays for briefings. You have seen none of these rooms. You have been told they exist. That is enough. You do not look back from the cow. This is not a written rule. It is the kind of understanding that doesn't need to be written. What you are responsible for is the 40 meters of track directly ahead of you at all times, the status of the lead train's radio signal, and the smoothness of the ride. The infrastructure beneath you is dilapidated, half-repaired, decades old in places. On a normal train, this would mean delays, complaints, bureaucratic reports. On this train, it means something else entirely. Every vibration travels backward through 15 carriages into rooms where decisions are being made that you will see the consequences of months later. In state broadcasts and foreign news, you are not supposed to be watching. You do not deliver turbulence. You do not deliver lurches or sudden braking or unexplained stops. You deliver stillness at 37 miles per hour through the dark. Your first year, you make 11 journeys. You don't know the destinations in advance. You receive coordinates or sometimes just a station name 2 hours before departure. You are given the route by the security officer. You do not plan it. You do not question it. 20 private stations exist across the country, built or modified specifically for these movements. Most of them are unmarked on any civilian map. When you pull into one, the platform is already cleared. Soldiers stand at intervals you could measure with a ruler. Civilians have been redirected. The country rearranges itself, briefly and invisibly, so that this train can pass through it without friction. You start to understand something about the nature of the job. It is not about the train. The train is the least important part. What you are operating is a controlled absence, a moving location that the outside world cannot fix or predict or track. Fighter jets escort the convoy within North Korean territory. Intelligence services in Seoul and Washington and Tokyo spend significant resources trying to determine when and where this train is moving. Satellite imaging, signal intercepts, defector testimony, all of it aimed at the thing you are sitting inside of right now in the dark, doing 37 miles per hour through a mountain corridor with your hands steady on the controls. You are the ghost. You are what they're looking for and cannot find. Some nights this feels like power. Most nights it feels like the opposite. The defining journey comes in your fourth year. You don't know it's the defining journey when it begins. It begins the way they all begin. Late at night, a route delivered 2 hours prior, the lead train already 3 kilometers ahead, the rear train falling into formation behind you as you clear the Pyongyang yard. The route takes you north, then northeast. The gradients get steeper. The track quality gets worse. You can feel it in your hands the way a surgeon feels through instruments. Small signals, faint vibrations. The rails communicating their age to you through steel and friction. 6 hours in, the lead train stops. The radio gives you a single coded signal. You slow to a halt. You wait. The protocol for this is you wait. You do not ask. You do not get out. You keep the engine running at idle, and you watch the track ahead and you breathe. 17 minutes pass. You learn later, much later from a fragment of conversation you were not meant to hear, that the lead train found something on the tracks. What exactly, you are never told. An irregularity, an anomaly. The kind of word that in this context means something that cannot be named without naming the fear that comes with it. The train behind you moves closer during those 17 minutes. You can feel it in the rails. You don't look back. Then the signal clears. You bring the engine up slowly, the way you always do. You feel the weight of 15 armored carriages behind you transfer into motion, one by one, like a long breath being taken. The track ahead is dark. The lead train is already gone, 3 kilometers into the dark, sweeping the line clean for you. You drive. 2 hours later, you reach the station. The platform is empty except for soldiers. There is no ceremony on your end. There never is. You bring the train to a stop within the marked position, which you have done every single time because the alternative is not something you permit yourself to think about. Someone important disembarks. You don't see it happen. You hear the faint compression of carriages behind you as weight shifts, as doors open and close in the sealed world at your back. Then stillness. Then a guard appears at your cab door and tells you to hold position. You hold position. You sit in the cab for 2 hours and 40 minutes while whatever is happening outside happens outside. Meetings perhaps, a transfer of something, a decision made in a building you will never enter. None of it belongs to you. What belongs to you is the track, the gauges, the silence you maintain around the thing you carry. You have been doing this for 11 years now. Nobody outside this program knows your name. There is no record of your role that exists on any document a foreign government will ever read. The college students in Seoul who track his movements, the analysts in Langley who study satellite passes over rail yards, the journalists who write about where he goes and what it means, none of them know you exist. None of them are thinking about the person in the cab. They are thinking about him. You are the part that makes him possible, and the most important thing you have ever done, the thing that defines 11 years and hundreds of night hours and 17 minutes, stopped on a dark track in the northeastern mountains with something unknown on the rails ahead, is also the thing that will never appear in any account of any of it. You got him there, every time, and then you turned the train around and drove back into the dark.